Hey everybody, it's Mindy. How are you? Happy Monday. I am doing this on a Monday evening right before dinner, so this is going to be a super quick video. I sort of have a quiet house for a few minutes, but that's going to change at any second now, so that's why I usually get up early and do these, but 5 o'clock this morning just didn't happen. So anyway, here we are, 5 o'clock at night. So we're going to make candy cane blondies today. It is a basic blondie recipe, and then we're going to use Andy's Peppermint Crunch. I guess you call them chips. Yeah, they call them baking chips. You could also just use crushed up candy canes if you wanted to. And this is one of those recipes that has no chocolate for the non-chocolate people that walk among us. I don't know who they are. I don't know why, but we do have them among us, and we love them. So anyway, I figured between this, the butterscotch fudge, which I have a little sample of here, and then the sugar Christmas cookies. I'm like, well, that's not too bad. That's about a quarter of the recipes that have no chocolate, and the rest of them are pretty chocolate heavy, but that's okay. So before I get to this recipe real quick, by the way, here is that butterscotch fudge. If you can see it, the butterscotch white chip. I have been snacking on it, and it's pretty good. I don't find it too sweet because of the salt. I think without the salt, that would have been super, super, super sweet. And I will say too, it has this consistency. I just pulled this from the freezer, and it's a little gummier than that other fudge recipe I had. And I think part of it's the butterscotch, and I think part of it's just the fact that it's 2 ingredients. It almost was, when I cut it before it was completely frozen, it almost had this, if you remember silly putty, which is a weird way to describe food, but it almost had like this silly putty texture. It's still really good, but you could kind of cut it and pull it, and it's like a taffy kind of a thing. So anyway, I like it. It's going to go back in the freezer. You can eat it straight from the freezer, and it's actually pretty good that way. So anyway, let me know if you try it. Okay, so I took a picture of my recipe, put it on my tablet. You just don't even know how proud I am of myself. So anyway, blondies. So a blondie is essentially the texture and look of a brownie without chocolate. So I love blondies. They're good. You can do all kinds of fun things with them. They just have a real good kind of vanilla buttery flavor. They're good on their own. They're great with things mixed in. If you prefer chocolate, you could even add chocolate chips to this with your peppermint, which I might actually do. I don't know. We'll see what hits me here, but that would be like a good chocolate peppermint holiday kind of a crunch. But again, if somebody doesn't like chocolate, this is perfect for them, just as kind of a non-chocolate treat, or if you just want to kind of mix in something that's not, so chocolatey, because so many of the things that I have made and most of the Christmas cookies that I do are a lot of chocolate. So anyhow, I have here 1 cup of melted butter. I just pulled that from the stove. I am going to add, not very much room here. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup. I'm going to actually do a little bit less because these have a lot of sugar. A little more than 1/4 cup, just under 1/2 cup of white sugar. And then we're going to do a cup of the brown sugar. I happen to have dark brown sugar currently. You can also use light brown sugar, and I probably should have pre-measured this, but the brown sugar, as you know, just kind of pack down. And then once I get that all situated, I'm going to go ahead and mix. You can just use a spoon or a spatula for this one. You don't have to use a hand mixer. I do this with the brownies too. I just do quick little spoon. So you're going to go ahead and get that all incorporated. Sometimes this brown sugar likes to get a little lumpy. So I had the butter off the stove for a few minutes, so it is not, it's warm, but it's not too hot. So I can go ahead and add my eggs next. This recipe keeps, the tablet keeps going to dark. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add 2 eggs plus 1 egg yolk, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla, which I put in here. Go ahead and give those a quick stir. And get that all incorporated. And then I did go ahead and pre-measure the dry ingredients. I have 2 1/4 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. Like that, we're just going to add that in. And you don't have to overmix. It's just until you get that flour and all the things with it incorporated. This batter will be kind of thick and a little bit, I don't know, a little sticky to work with, but I'm just going to get the rest of that going. And then what I like to do, sometimes if you put your melting, or not melting, but like anything that's chocolate or melty, I don't know another word for that. Anything that can melt. If you add that directly to the batter, it's going to kind of melt into it and it won't show up as distinctly as it could when it bakes. So what I like to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put about half of it in the pan. And it is a little, this kind of looks like what I was making the other day. It is a little, it's like a gummy texture. You know how that is, it's a little hard to work with. But I'm just going to go ahead, spread that out in the pan. I did go ahead and do a foil lined 9x13 because it's just so much easier once it's cooled to just pop this out onto a cutting board and then cut it. And then the other thing that you can do, if you want to bake it ahead and you're not ready to cut it, once it's cooled, you can just leave it in the foil, wrap it up, and then probably put another sheet of foil on top and wrap it completely, and then just stick the whole thing in the freezer. And then you don't have to have any kind of a pan or anything. It's just like a frozen block in the freezer, and then just leave it there until you're ready to cut it. So that's kind of a handy thing too. Okay, I bought the Andes Peppermint Crunch. Again, you can do crushed candy canes if you want. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few over. And I might, like I said, I might do a few chocolate chips on top. I haven't decided yet. I've got a little time to decide here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead then and place the rest of the batter on top. Spread that around. I'll probably end up using just maybe half of this bag. These are pretty strong. The recipe I have calls for 2 cups of chips. I think they're assuming if you're using chocolate chips. But I think I'm going to use about half the bag now, bake it, and I will be baking this at 375 for about 20 minutes. I'll check it after about 18. And then what I'll do is the remainder, once this is completely cooled, I might drizzle some white chocolate on top, cut it into bars, drizzle the white chocolate, and then sprinkle a few of these on top just to give it that extra little pretty touch. So the thing with Blondies too, the edges will be slightly golden and the middle will be a little bit jiggly. You don't want to over bake If you're not sure, you can probably give it a couple more minutes and then take it out, and then as it cools, it'll continue to bake. And you want the centers, once it's all cooled and you're ready to cut and serve, you want the centers to be kind of, you know how a brownie is fudgy? Usually the ends are crunchy, and then you get to the middle squares and it's more of like a chewy fudgy. Same idea, but not fudgy. Blondie. Blondigy. You want it to be blondigy. So just a little heads up on that. Again, I will probably check this after 18 minutes and then maybe give it till 20, 21. But I'm going to go ahead and bake these after I decide about the chocolate chips or not. And then hopefully next video I'll have those all finished and cut a little square and show you how I kind of finish those off. So anyway, I hope you have a great night. I will talk to you more soon. I think this is day 9. Can't believe it. 3 more to go, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good night. Thanks. Bye.